Hi guys, Josh Lake here today with the lovely Paige Goodger and Mr. Bix Weir for a very special announcement. Paige and I are starting our brand new YouTube channel and project called the Pebbleton Post. And so we're very
Yay! Woohoo!
excited to
Yeah!
bring this project to life. We've been thinking about it for a long time now. And that's the whole point of this video, is just to kind of introduce what we want to do with it, our plans, and also give a little context as to why we want to do this project, because Bix Weir was an instrumental figure for us to become active in this space that we're going to be talking about here. But before we jump into all that, Paige, Bix, how you guys doing today?
I'm
So good.
wonderful. It's so good to talk to you guys. Let's tell everyone, we've been talking about this for almost a year now. And we're like right at the starting line, and it's wonderful. And the gun's going off right now.
Exactly. And because we've been talking about it for so long, because of all the work that we've done together, we couldn't be more excited to bring this out into reality. And so that's really what we want to talk about today, is kind of first, what is the Pebbleton Post? Why are we doing this? And then before we get into that, I'd like to talk a little bit more about the Road to Ruta and what we've been doing with the Road to Ruta for the last couple of years now, and introduce you to Bix, because I would imagine a lot of the people who are viewing this video probably know who you are. But for those who don't know who you are, Bix, could you just give like a little summary about who you are and the work that you do with the Road to Ruta?
I'm Paige's stepdad. That's who I am. That's how I get my identity. I'm the stepdad to an amazing woman named Paige Goodger, who I'm such a fan of Paige's. I hired you guys for a long time. Paige and I did the Word Wednesday every week. It was a wonderful time. So I'm really excited about this. My name's Bix Weir. I was in banking for 25 years. Mainly leasing large equipment like mining equipment. Got into gold and silver back in the late 90s and early 2000s, and discovered almost instantly that the markets were rigged. So I've been diving into that world for a very long time, 24 years now. And I learned everything I needed to know about a monetary system, unbacked fiat money, the need for some kind of monetary system that has a scarcity factor in it. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin came around. I was there in the early days. I hated it. I said, it's electronic money. And then our friend Cliff High said, hey, Bix, you need to think about this differently, because it's nobody's third-party asset. There's no third party. If you hold the Bitcoin, it's just like holding a piece of gold or silver. It's a real asset in your own possession. And it has all these great features, limited scarcity, completely open software that everybody can see and everybody participates in approvals. So yeah, I got into that, and then I started the Road to Ruta website back in 2010, where I talked about all this stuff. And it's been a grind at times, especially because half the media is against. 90% of the media was against what I'm talking about this whole time. And even you two schmoes, when you first came into my life, were very, who is this? He's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And over the years, I softened your view towards me, hopefully. And yeah, that's where we are today. And now it feels wonderful that you guys are starting something so cool and unique on your own, but also that I helped inspire. So yeah, it's great to be here.
Oh, you definitely helped inspire us, Bix. I remember meeting you first I met you through Paige, obviously. And you were just some YouTuber. Like, I didn't understand anything about the world you live in. And then you asked us to come do the Litecoin pre-party Vegas show in 2019, I think. And yeah, Paige and I were just helping facilitate. I was filming it, Paige was helping work it. And I think that was really when it just like kicked us open to the entire world of, I don't even know what to call this world, frankly. It's like the financial alternative media space, or the freedom movement space. It all overlaps so much. But I remember learning about all that for the first time with you, and having a red pill experience, as it's colloquially called. And yeah, it was life changing, especially leading right into 2020, where the whole world got shook up. And so, for me, it was awesome getting to know you because you helped shine so many lights on all of the things that were, I mean, all the craziness, all the corruption, all the things that we didn't know existed. And so, uh, so appreciate all the guidance you've always given us, and then the opportunity to work with your company and be a part of your message, a part of your, your effort to make the world a more liberated, free, better place. And so, Paige was the first one to go on with you, with the company. And so, Paige, would you mind, giving a little bit of your experience of when you were working at the Road to Ruta? How was it? How was it being a part of this? How was it learning all of this information? How was it becoming a part of this really cool community?
Yeah, great question. It has been absolutely life-changing. I mean, I I was on the other side of the fence about a lot of these issues and topics, and I had no idea. I mean, you know what crypto is, you know what investing is, but to see the back end of this and to see but what's going on behind the scenes, it was life changing. It was paradigm shifting. It completely has changed the way on like my whole world outlook right now, and just getting to be a part of this community. There's so much heart, there is so much passion in this community, and people who genuinely care about humanity and where we're going and making sure that everyone has equal rights and freedom in like the best way possible. And it has just given me so much energy and purpose. And I mean, my time at the Rotaruta has been absolutely amazing. And thank you, Bix, for the opportunity to dive into this world head first and just be a part of this community, starting conversations. I was mainly brought on to the Rotaruta to bridge a marketing gap that was kind of there with like the younger generation, and a lot of the Rotaruta followers were a little bit older, and I realized that no one in my friend group was really having any of these conversations, and so I really wanted to bring in that younger generation. And so I originally started on social media, and then I slowly worked my way into more of the fulfillment and customer support side because I was learning all this information, and I realized that a lot of people had questions and needed a little bit of guidance in a lot of areas. And that was probably my favorite part, was just connecting with people all over the world. And I was part of our fulfillment, so I was sending out the silver Ruta coins to everyone, and it was just awesome. I mean, I would send to everywhere in the world, truly, literally, like to every corner of the world. And every coin that was sent out, that just means there's one more person in this fight. And so as tedious as it was I knew that it was just for this amazing cause. And so another favorite part was just the road show, getting to tour the US, meet a bunch of people, and just have great conversation and how we're truly going to change the world. And so that's really what inspired the Pebbleton post, and for us to continue these conversations with other people and to just continue learning and be a part of this fight. So it was amazing. How was your time at the Rotaruta, Josh? What were some of your highlights, and what were some lessons that you learned while you were on the Rotaruta?
Oh, well, I will echo a lot of what you just said because I had an incredible time and experience with the Road to Ruta. The road show was awesome. And for those of you guys who don't know what the road show was, the Freedom Road Show was basically Bix's plan to go take this message and drive around the country and share the word, spread the truth, sing some songs, and just really get some good energy flowing through everyone who came out and visited us. And so, yeah, that was probably my favorite part in terms of just the experience. We went on a 2.5 month road trip, broken up into 2 trips, but with, I think it was 8 states, 12 cities, 14 shows that we were going out and driving. We just packed up all our stuff in RVs and drove out all the way through, Colorado and Texas and Oklahoma and Missouri, and just meeting a bunch of people, meeting a bunch of people and cultures that I don't think we'd ever really meet otherwise, if it wasn't for this experience. And it was really awesome, like you said, Paige, to connect with so many people who were so different from us, just in terms of who they were, what they lived, but had the same like-mindedness, or the same like-heartedness to recognize that there's change and work that needs to be done out here in the world, and coming together so we can help educate each other, help create that energy to really ignite change for all of us. And so that was probably my most favorite part of the whole thing. But I got to do a lot of other really fun stuff. A little bit about me: I do video. I've been doing video for over 12 years as my career, and photo. And so, while we were on the road, I got to document all of it and made a really fun documentary out of it. Bix and I early on were making some music videos and doing some other video content like that. I was also helped to kind of give Road to Root a little facelift when it comes to like the website. I helped design
The big facelift, as well as the music videos. I worked my way into the real music video world with Josh. Amazing stuff.
Oh, it was so much fun doing that. Making the logo was great. Trying out some other stuff with the sweepstakes, giving away Theta, which is one of our favorite cryptocurrencies, and just also helping out Paige when it comes to some of the support and some of the fulfillment. And just, we wore a lot of hats. We were a pretty lean team, and it was really fun getting to be not only fun to gain the professional experience, but just to learn so much about your world, Bix, of this whole. I call it the freedom community, because that's essentially, at the base of what it is. It's just people who understand that there's a bunch of issues and problems with this system that currently runs our lives, and it's outdated, it's broken, it's corrupted, and we need to be the change. We need to help create that new wave of just life and livelihood. And so that's being a part of that was so inspiring. And that's ultimately why we're here with the Pebbleton Post, is to become our own face on the internet, so that, we can interact with this amazing community that we've helped or become a part of. And so that's a good question, Paige. I really appreciate hearing all that. For you, Bix,
just a comment on,
yeah.
My favorite part was the traveling. The shows were fine. They were great. But I knew that information. Everything I learned about, you want to get to know your family, travel, or your workers, you travel with them in an RV from town to town, and, all kinds of, if you ever seen the movie RV with Robin Williams, it's just like that. You never know what kind of experience you're going to have. And we had some really high highs and really low lows, and it was just an amazing trip. And not only did we bond as a family, but we bonded as a company. We bonded with our partners and memberships and affiliates, and the people who are out there, watching our stuff and reading what we have to say. It was wonderful. When you look back on your life, that's going to be one of the big things I'm going to look back at and say, oh my God, that was an amazing time. So I want to thank you guys for joining in my dream. And it was, my dream got fulfilled because of you guys. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you, Bix. It was so fun to be a part of, and meet so much of the community that I know just from meeting the people and seeing the amount of love that they had for us as a team, and for you, Bix, as someone who really opened up so many people to just understanding a deeper meaning of life, or at least a deeper understanding of how we can take back our power and at least manage ourselves a little bit better, especially in the financial space, because you're a financial guy, and that was where so much of your information was. You're also very much part of the spiritual side when it comes to some of the more woo-woo topics that float around in this space, and then also with health too, because a lot of the partners that we had were health oriented, like Purple Power, and now you're even doing the Raw Food Reboot, which is, for you guys who don't know, an awesome 21-day raw food cleanse that's led by Paige's mom, Bix's wife, Amy, who we love so much. And she is a saint for just putting together this reboot for other people to really dive into the health side of things. And so with the health, that's probably one of the major things that Paige and I especially want to dive into with the Pebbleton Post, especially since you've helped inspire us with that, Bix, but also because Paige has just been so called to work in this line of work, this industry. And so, Paige, would you mind touching on, some of the things that you were excited to bring to the health and wellness side of what we're trying to do here with the Pebbleton Post?
Yeah, absolutely. To quote Marjorie Wildcraft, I think she said it best. Your health is your biggest asset. And we are in the world, of assets. And I think in the past 4 years, I've learned about all the hard assets and the crypto and the silver and how those assets are life changing. And at the end of the day, you can have all the wealth in the world. And if you don't have your health, it really doesn't mean anything. And so I have always kind of been in the health and wellness field and industry. I have my degree in kinesiology, and I just love anything body system movement related. And right now I'm actually working on getting my personal training certification and just really being there to help facilitate people's journeys into health and inspiring them to live healthier lives, and also try to do that to the best of my ability in my own life. And I'm just really excited to bring on some more people like Ken Schwartz, and maybe hopefully someone from Berkey Water Filters, and just all of these great health coaches and health people who really want to change the industry. And it's not just the cookie cutter health and wellness, drink your green juice, but it's scientifically backed. And I'm really excited to start these conversations with this community. And I love all things health. And so hopefully I'll maybe work with some of you one-on-one in the future. But that's kind of what I'm going to be bringing to the table in terms of health and wellness on the Pebbleton Post. And I love that the Pebbleton Post can encompass all aspects of life, because I think health is, your emotional health, your mental health, your financial health, your physical health. There's so many things that can encompass health and wellness. And it's just this huge umbrella with everything great underneath it. So really excited to dive into that, and just keep exploring this space.
Are you gonna be incorporating some yoga stuff as well? Because I know you're amazing at yoga.
Maybe, yeah.
Not to push you or anything. Not to push you.
I'm not like certified or anything, but I definitely love the movement practice of yoga, the mindfulness aspects of that, consciously connecting with your body and with other people. And I love, anything like all breath work stuff. I think breath work's amazing, and, used the right way, obviously. But yes, definitely all things movement, and just, consciously really tapping into our relationship with our body and how that can really just change your life. I mean, from 2020, there was this huge turn in health and wellness, and just, I feel like I finally have healed my body from, anxiety, depression, and all of these, things that we all go through, and we all, I think, collectively went through during 2020. It was just a very intense year, and it really solidified and, clarified what's important, and what's important to us. What do we need to put first in our lives? And I think for a lot of us, that was health and wellness. And so that's kind of my driving force behind all this. I think 2020 shed a lot of light, especially in the mental health space, for both Josh and I. Josh, do you want to shed some light on your 2020 experience and how that kind of ties in with our, dream and goal of starting the Pebbleton Post?
Absolutely. Well, I love hearing all that you have to say about the health page, because it's going to be incredible to see where you take that with your intentions there. And I'm excited to be a part of the ride, because and to answer your question, the 2020 experience was brutal for a lot of us, and I think for me, it was just as I was starting to really crack open, as we were talking about earlier, with finally understanding so much of this space and the red pill experience, where the whole paradigm that you thought was life kind of just gets tipped over on its head. And so I had a really mentally difficult time and emotionally difficult time during 2020, because it was just like major fear and major uncertainty of what's going to happen. And so I really, with all that, leaned into the information that was coming out through all the people in this sphere. Bix mentioned Cliff High earlier, and he was someone I learned a lot from. But at the same time, when you're learning that much information, it's kind of overwhelming and it's very stimulating. And for me, it stimulated a lot of just nerves. And so I was doing some pretty drastic stuff, I mean, when it comes to getting prepared, when it comes to moving money around into assets that were, that I believed were going to be the right move. And I'm still so thankful that a lot of it were cryptos and silver. And I'm so happy that I did that, because since then, learning the education of these things, I really hold these assets so dear to my heart. But at the time, I was very much over leveraging myself in ways that's just I'm still paying for today. So because of that heavy red pill experience, I'm happy that I went through it. I'm happy that I learned all this information, and I'm happy that it's behind everything I do today. I just hope that we can bring that information out there to the people, or at least create conversations where we can bring some of this information to more people, and do so in a way that's going to be a little bit less drastic and dramatic than the way I experienced it. And so that's part of the mission here with the Pebbleton Post, is to create I like to say, a red pill formula that's a little bit more digestible and a lot more enticing than what 2020 had to offer for myself. And so that's kind of my plan when it comes to these conversations. And that's kind of where I hope that we can bring in tons of different experts and enthusiasts in this field, or in all these fields, and just have conversations about what can we do to make take better control of our lives, take better control of our wealth and our health, and empower ourselves to be just the best versions of ourselves that we can. And so that's ultimately why we're having this first video, is to kind of introduce our intentions with the Pebbleton Post. And Bix, I know that there's a big fight, and this is part of the whole waking up, is realizing there's a big fight going on behind the scenes. And the question I have for you now, I guess, is what are your plans to continue the fight with all that you've done so far for 20 plus years with the Road to Ruta?
Well, yeah, I mean, the Road to Ruta started in the actual company was formed in 2010, but I was writing for Bill Murphy and the Metropole Cafe since 1999 is when I got into it. I feel like I'm coming to the end of this road. This road being my advocacy for free markets, my advocacy for telling the truth in our media, in our financial system. Free markets are the most important thing any society can have, because everything else is based off that. People's livelihoods are based off that. What you have to do to make a living and feed your family is based off that. And if you don't have free markets, you don't have freedom. I've written songs about it. I've preached it, but it is so very true. That's why I fought all these years. And my number one fight, even though I've gone off in various tangents, life brings you this way and that way. And I've been lucky to have so many people come along the journey with me. And I think you guys just starting out on your own journeys, you're going to have people who follow you and grow with you and change you and help you. So many people on the Road to Ruta have helped me. And you come to a point where, I mean, I'm not retiring, but I can see the end of the road, and it lies ahead. And that end of the road is the end of market manipulation, the end of the criminality, no matter how chaotic it may be. I see that as the end of the road. I think we're getting there. If it happens next week, I wouldn't be surprised. If it happens next year, I would be a little more surprised. But if it happens in 10 years, I'd be really surprised. But I'm not going to stop. it's one of those things. It's my life goal and my life mission to spread the word that everybody's lying to us, and they have been for a very long time about pretty much everything. So, when you guys were talking about what you did in 2020 and how it changed you, what changed me was the understanding that I got to take care of my own thoughts and feelings and healthcare and financial system and everything. If you can't take care of yourself, you're subject to the nanny state that's going to take care of you and abuse you. And I didn't want to be in that situation. And I had to live through, my friends and neighbors living in Northern California. My friends and neighbors, thought I was crazy. And, I know a lot of people who are listening to this probably had fights, depending on what you believe during that time, fights with your family and friends. And I know a lot of people who don't even speak to their family members anymore. So it took a lot of, okay, you have to be understanding with your family members, but at the same time, you need to inform them so that they can make informed choices and not just blindly follow what the government's telling you to do, or your banking system's telling you to do, or your stockbroker's telling you to do. And that's where I've come out, and I think I navigated that gauntlet pretty well. But like everything, it's a learning situation. I love to say on the road to Ruta, it's not the end journey that matters. It's the road you travel, all the things you learn, and the lessons and the people you affect. That's the most important thing. So I'm really excited that you guys have started your journey. Pebbleton Post, I'm pumped about. And at some point, you're going to have to explain to everybody where you got the name. And
actually, that's what I was hoping that we could talk a little bit about, because I mean, first of all, you just opened up a lot of things that we're super excited to talk about more and unpack with the rollout of this whole project. But to give some context behind all of that too, what is, first of all, what is the road to Ruta? Like, what does that even mean? Because that kind of ties into why we call ourselves the Pebbleton Post. So if you wouldn't mind just giving a little description of how you came to that name for the work you're doing, please.
Sure. I was 7 years into fighting for the end of gold and silver manipulation through a group called GATA, the Gold Antitrust Action Committee. Writing congressmen, doing massive amounts of research, learning, a lot of learning and a lot of screaming when I saw regulators that were lying and cheating and assisting in the manipulation. And then one day I was in the archives of the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, believe it or not. And it was December 31st. And I was on a certain page, in their education page. And I just, for some reason, I stopped there. I went and partied for New Year's. I woke up the next morning and I clicked on where I was. And all of a sudden there was a brand new post and a new page on their website. And it was a comic book. This is the Federal Reserve System, mind you. Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. The comic is still there. And it was called Wishes and Rainbows. And it came with a teacher's guide called The Road to Ruta, as well as another pamphlet on banking basics. And I was like, what in the hell is the Federal Reserve doing with a comic book? So I dove into the comic book, what it was saying. And I thought, this is the strangest thing I've ever heard. It's about a little girl named Ruta, Roota, who lives in a land of no color. And, everybody's just going about their business. And all of a sudden they find a colored flower, and everybody covets that colored flower because it is a scarce asset. And then it goes into how many scarce assets can they get, and who's going to get it, and how are they allocated. And then I didn't know much about, the monetary system. I didn't go that deep into, hey, is there a time that we might have to reallocate money to the people in the United States of America? And you read the teacher's guide, and that's exactly where it went. It was the comic book was all about the necessity to have a gold standard, is what the book was talking about. Remember, this was published in 2007. And then I found out it was originally published when inflation was going off the kilter again back in 1981, and Paul Volcker had to raise rates to 20%. that was the original publication of both the Wishes and Rainbows comic book and the Road to Ruta Teacher's Guide. So they redid it at this time of craziness in 2007. A year later, the financial collapse happens, and it was foretold in the comic book and what Ruta wrote in the sand. If you go to Road to Ruta, it'll explain it all. But the town they lived in, this beautiful little town where everybody lived in, that were kind of clueless about what was going on the land of no color, was called Pebbleton. And that's where Ruta lived, and Ruta taught the people of Pebbleton about scarcity and the need for scarcity when it comes to money. And even in the teacher's guide, they talk about using colored flowers as money. The analogy to our current system, people are still living in color land. The people of Pebbleton still haven't found out that there's anything wrong with their system. But when a financial collapse happens or something happens to our monetary system that pretty much everybody's talking about now, we're going to learn really fast what makes the most important money, and it's scarcity. And you can get that scarcity with gold. You can get that scarcity with silver. You can get that scarcity with certain types of cryptocurrencies. You can have electronic scarcity. So that's where Pebbleton came from. It is the land that Ruta lives in the Pebbleton Post. When you guys told me you're going to call it the Pebbleton Post, by the way, they don't have a newspaper in Pebbleton in the comic book. So I'm very excited that Pebbleton's going to get an electronic newspaper and site to help wake people up even faster than Ruta running around with her flowers. So yeah, that's the exciting thing for me.
That is exciting. And thank you for that context on, the Road to Ruta, and also where we're getting our name for the Pebbleton Post, because that is important to understand for our message, which is, when Ruta brought that colored flower back to Pebbleton, and then people started to understand, people started to wake up and see what was going on. And so that's what we're really trying to do here, is create a place where we can bring in more of these colored flowers, create more of these conversations, bring in more information and knowledge and truth, so that the people of, the world that we live in, Pebbleton, can start to understand a greater meaning of what we can do, and how we can live our lives. And so, definitely wealth and finances is going to be a large pillar of what we try to bring in there, especially with you, Bix, and a lot of the other amazing people that we've met through working with you. Then also with health, health is one of the big things that, like Paige said earlier, if you don't have your health, it's your number one asset, and your wealth doesn't really matter. And so combining those two things along with other forms of empowerment is really what we're trying to get to the bottom of here, and just talk to a lot of people who are knowledgeable in these spaces, so that we can learn alongside, or they can learn alongside, or the people that watch can learn alongside with us, because we're not experts in any of this. We've been in this world maybe 4 years now, since 2019, and we've met a lot of really cool people like you, Bix, who have been in the space for decades. And so just having them come in, having them talk about all of these things will help elevate our education, and also hopefully those also tuning in, they can learn a thing or two. And bridging the gap was something that Paige brought up earlier, because we noticed that there, in this space, in this world of freedom, or at least these conversations, most of the people are a little bit older. Paige and I are kind of on the younger side of this demographic. And so what we hope to do is bridge our generation and the people around us into this information a little bit more, and so we can speak about it a little bit more openly, and share the wealth, share the knowledge. And same thing with the inverse too, is a lot of the older people, they don't have a lot of the tech savviness that we do, and so a lot of that information that they have, they can't use, because they don't understand the technologies. They don't understand the new world that's kind of rolling out. And so bridging that gap too, like helping the people who are a little bit older understand the technologies and the new systems a little bit better, is the other bridge that we're trying to gap here. So those are really our intentions. We're excited to be posting to all places on the internet. Right now we have YouTube, we have Twitter. We're trying to build a few more places out, like Rumble and our website. So stay tuned, as all those things are going to be launched very soon. And you know, beyond that, guys, I'm really happy that we all got together to talk about all these things today. But you know, before we sign off, Paige, is there anything that you want to add to just what we're trying to do here, or any questions for Bix that you may have?
Yeah, I think I'm mainly just very excited to be joining this conversation, and I think that's what we do in all things in life, right? We're joining something that's pre-existing, that's already happening, but it's a different take on it. We're bringing in new experts, new people, people that have different opinions than us. That's something that I'm really excited to do on this channel. It's this will not be uh, a think tank. This will not be just an echo chamber of, this one space. We want to bring in a bunch of different voices, people who have different opinions, and really just learn more and understand what people's viewpoints are, why they think what they do, and just really come at this from a very like logic based approach. And so just joining that conversation, bridging gaps, and continuing to just provide education. And like Josh said, we're not necessarily experts, but we know that we have a place in this fight, and it's our job to stand in the gap and to have these tough conversations, and to talk about things that really truly matter and that are going to propel society and human freedom forward. And so I'm so fired up about this. And I think my last question for Bix would be, do you have any advice for us as we begin this journey? You've been on this journey for a while now, and I would love just some tidbits of information or any like positive affirmations as we embark on this new journey.
I think the biggest thing I could say is follow your heart, follow your intuition as you go down your own roads. Um, I think it's an amazing idea that you have, an amazing framework, and it'll evolve and change and bring people with you. That on the road to Ruta, that's the biggest thing is people have come down the road to Ruta with me and you guys, and the road to Ruta. It really is a family now, and I'm excited. The Pebbleton Post. We got a new baby in the family that I am gonna be all over your website if you let me join in, and I'll help
Absolutely.
you out the most I can. But I know you guys, this is your journey, and I'm very excited. And anybody on the road to Ruta who knows you guys would love to follow where you guys are going. So yeah, just follow your hearts, follow your intuition, and you're gonna end up the place you need to be. And that's always worked for me.
Well, thank you, Bix. We will definitely be following our lead, or our hearts, as they lead us into the battle. And for those of you guys watching, make sure to follow us on our channels on YouTube and Twitter right now. There's going to be more coming out, especially if you want to see more content with Mr. Bix Weir, because he's going to be one of our regular guests coming on and just spreading his knowledge and his message everywhere. So we're really excited to be doing this. Thank you so much, Bix, for coming on. And with that, I think that concludes our first video. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this. If you have any thoughts on this project, if you have anything that you want to say to us, or any questions or topics that you want us to bring up, make sure to comment them below so we can just really continue to evolve that conversation with this community. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.